8th, 2012 meeting has been provided in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act by posting written notice and agenda of this meeting on the bulletin board in the municipal building, 1000 Route 10, Whippany, Township of Hanover, and by hand delivering and mailing or faxing such notice and agenda to the following newspapers: Hanover Eagle, Morris County's Daily Record, the Star Ledger, and by filing same with the Township Clerk. A roll call.
Okay, on roll call, Committeeman Firmaska is away on business. Committeeman Schleifer.
Present.
Committeeman Bruno.
Here.
Committeeman Capola.
Here.
Mayor Franciella.
Here.
4 members in attendance, sir.
Thank you. Okay, would everyone please rise and join me in a pledge of allegiance to the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Very good. Okay, at this time we have a very nice recognition of service presentation to make. And Ann Longo has been a member of our Cultural Arts Committee for quite some time. Kenny, this is your area. Ken Schleifer has been our liaison to that. And Ann, you're unfortunately stepping off the committee. And the Township Committee wants to recognize the wonderful service that you've given us. And we would like to present you with a plaque at this time. And I'm going to ask Kenny to join me in the presentation. So if you come forward, please. Okay. And this plaque reads, in grateful recognition of Ann's 20 years of dedicated service.
And I could say it's been a pleasure serving here. Sorry to see it go. Ann is always been at the meetings, always been there, a dedicated member of the Cultural Arts Committee. And it's just been wonderful, just knowing you as a friend. It's been a wonderful experience having you.
Very good group. You get a nice picture of you, right?
Very good.
There you go.
5 or 6.
Peter.
Okay, very good. Good. Thank you for all volunteers are the core of this town, that's for sure. Very good. Thank you, man. Yeah, Nick, is it? I want to pull the box for that. Yeah, what do you have for John? You have a, okay. Yeah, we have another presentation for John Argue, but John's not with us tonight, so we'll carry that little event. What we just did here tonight, we've done so many times before, and you know, it's like a mixed emotion. Volunteers in our township of Hanover Township are really the core of what makes things happen. When you take all of our committees here, you know, down through planning and Board of Adjustments and Board of Health and Economic Development, and I'm probably missing a ton more from it through. And they're all manned by so many hours that are given by the volunteers of our community. That's what makes Hanover what it is, and we really do appreciate it. And Ann's just a perfect example of that, and we thank you very, very much. Very nice. Okay. At this time, motion from the floor, from the committee to open to the public.
So moved.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the floor is open. If anyone would like to address the Township Committee at this time, they can do so from the podium, giving us your name and address for the record.
Ed A. Ballou, 18 Spruce Street, Cedar Knolls. I've worked with Ann on the Cultural Arts Committee for most of those 20 years. And I just wanted to say for the record that she's an amazing person. She has taken on a tremendous amount of work for the committee, doing a lot more than she was ever called up to do. She was our secretary for countless years and always presented the minutes in a very mannerly and mannerly fashion. And I just wanted to personally thank her for her work for 20 years. I've been there. Now I am the chair, and I'm going to have to do it without her. But she will sorely be missed on the committee, but we hope to see her around town as often as we can. Thank you, Ann.
Thank you.
There's one other thing that I'd like to bring up to the committee. I drive up Route 10 frequently during rush hours, and I've noticed that across from the shopping center, there are people walking back and forth across the light to the apartments that are across the street. I've seen people with little kids and strollers. There's no sidewalks. There's no path for anybody to go down to that street, and yet I see them walking on the sides of the street, coming down Route 10, facing the traffic. And I think it's a real hazard that somebody needs to look into to see what can be done about putting a sidewalk that'll come somewhere from the apartments to go down the street so they can cross at the light. Thank you.
Along Route 10. Yes.
Yes, that's correct.
I know what you're speaking of, I do. We should, Jerry, we should just take a look at what's been mentioned here and maybe have somebody from traffic safety also take a look at it and see what our pedestrians are doing around that area, get an idea of what a recommendation would be. Can you do that?
Yes.
Okay, we can do that. Okay, thank you. We'll take a look into it. Was anybody else from the public like to be heard at this time?
Patrick Doonan, 9 Emerson Drive, Whippany. It's nothing major. I work for the town, as you all know, and I've been cleaning out basins the last couple of weeks. And we have these people throw these things in little baggies on and every Wednesday or Thursday they go there. Could the town do something? It's littering, and nobody seems to pick them up, and they're all in the basins.
It's been such an annoyance. I gotta agree with you, Pat. We looked into this some years ago. This has been going on for quite some time.
I know.
And, trying to prevent it. Now, I don't know if we came up with the conclusion, we'll have to revisit it, that the homeowners can contact the publications and
I've
tell
told the
them
guy,
not to
but they
deliver.
change every couple months who delivers
And
it,
you
so
get
it's a
it
different
again,
person.
yeah.
And they don't, you know what, when I told them for 3 months, I didn't get it. They were very nice about it. But when are you home when they're doing it? We're all working.
Yeah. Not only is it on the driveway, it's duplicated. If you get the daily record, it's
Oh, I know,
the
it's
daily
in every
record anyway,
Wednesday's record.
and then you're going to get that on the driveway
Yeah.
at the same
Just
time,
to
you know?
say something about it, that's all.
I think what we can try and do is have the administrator maybe try and reach out, contact. I think that publication you're talking about is part of the daily record.
Yeah, it is.
Maybe the administrator can reach out and have a little chat with the publishing company over there at Daily Record and see what we can do to control this. That it's been brought to our attention that it is a public nuisance. And again, we had the same situation, Pat, some years
right.
ago.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
A mess. It's further a mess when they're in the snow and they get caught up in your snow blower. Take it from me. Boy. Okay, anyone else in the public like to be heard at this time? Hearing none. Seeing none. Motion to close?
So moved.
In second? Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Mr. Administrator.
Okay, as we continue, ladies and gentlemen, with the agenda, we have communications. One item from the Hanover Township Board of Education. This is a request for the drawdown on tax levy monies in the amount of $1,772,106. May we have a motion for approval?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Bruno and Mr. Capola. On roll call, Mr. Schleifer,
Aye.
Mr. Bruno,
Aye.
Mr. Capola,
Aye.
and Mr. Franciola.
Aye.
The following department reports are available for public inspection in the Business Administrator Clerk's office, and they include approval of the minutes. We have the approval of the minutes, the organization meeting of January 1st, 2012, and and the regular meetings of January 12th and 26th, 2012. May we have a motion for approval?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Schleifer, seconded by Mr. Bruno. On roll call, Mr. Schleifer.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Francioli.
Aye.
Now on department reports that are available for public inspection. And they include the report of the police department for all activities performed by the department during February 2012. The certified municipal court administrator has submitted her report of all disposition of summonses during the month of January. The township's property maintenance officer has submitted her report as of March 7th on the disposition of all activities dealing with violations of property maintenance. The superintendent of the Public Works, Buildings and Grounds, and Park Maintenance Department has submitted two reports. His report for all sanitation and road division activities, and the second report dealing with park maintenance in our parkland facilities. Township's Chief Municipal Finance Officer has submitted his report as of February 29th on the summary of all budget revenues collected by the township. Finally, the construction official has submitted several reports, including certificates of occupancy issued during the month of February and building permits as well. Those reports are all available for public inspection. As we continue, ladies and gentlemen, on ordinances for public hearing and final passage. First one is docketed as ordinance number 5-12, authorizing the installation of sidewalk along a portion of Litchfield Drive and appropriating the sum of $5,000 from the Capital Improvement Fund of 2012 and all prior years. We have the proof of publication that the ordinance and the notice of introduction appeared in full in the February 16th issue of the Daily Record. At this time, may we now have a motion to convene the public hearing?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Capola.
Second.
Second by Mr. Francioli. On roll call, Mr. Schleifer.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Francioli.
Aye.
Is there anyone in chambers wishing to be heard on ordinance 5-12 at this time? Hearing none, seeing none, may we have a motion to close the
So moved.
public hearing?
So moved.
Motion by Mr.
Second.
Francioli, seconded by Mr. Capola. On roll call, Mr. Schleifer.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Francioli.
Aye.
Now on adoption, be it resolved in an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the Township Committee authorizing the installation of sidewalk along a portion of Litchfield Drive within the township, and further authorizing the appropriation of $5,000 for said improvement from the Capital Improvement Fund of 2012 and or prior years, be passed on final reading, and that a notice of the final passage of the ordinance shall be published in the March 15th issue of the Daily Record. May we now have a motion on adoption?
So moved.
So moved by
Second.
Mr. Francioli, seconded by Mr. Capola. This is the roll call on adoption. Mr. Schleifer.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Francioli.
Aye.
So adopted.
I'd like to thank George, congratulate him on this. This is an effort between not only the Township Committee, but the Board of Education. This has been going on for several months, and Committeeman Capola has stayed on top of it. And George, I'm very proud to sign this. We
Thank
finally
you.
got it going.
I'm
Thank
very
you.
proud, happy that we got through. And I thank everybody.
Ordinance 6-12 is an ordinance reducing the 2 cent per $100 of assessed valuation dedicated open space trust fund tax rate to 1/2 cent per $100 of assessed valuation during calendar year 2012 only, and further authorizing the Chief Municipal Finance Officer to collect the 1/2 cent dedicated tax. We have the proof of publication, that the ordinance and the notice of introduction appeared in full in the March 1st issue of the Daily Record. This time, ladies and gentlemen, may we have a motion to convene the public hearing?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Capola.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bruno. On roll call, Mr. Schleifer.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Franciulli.
Aye.
Is there anyone present wishing to be heard concerning ordinance 6-12? Seeing none, hearing none, may we have a motion now to close the public hearing?
So moved.
So
Second.
moved by Mr. Franciulli, seconded by Mr. Schleifer. On roll call, Mr. Schleifer.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Franciulli.
Aye.
On adoption of ordinance 6-12, be it resolved that an ordinance entitled An Ordinance of the Township Committee of the Township of Hanover, reducing the 2 cent per $100 of assessed valuation dedicated open space trust fund tax rate to 1/2 cent per $100 of assessed valuation during calendar year 2012 only, and further authorizing the township's chief municipal finance officer to collect the 1/2 cent dedicated tax, be passed on final reading, and that a notice of the final passage of this ordinance shall be published in the March 15th issue of the Daily Record. May we now have a motion for adoption?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Franciulli,
Second.
second by Mr. Schleifer. On adoption, Mr. Schleifer,
Aye.
Mr. Bruno,
Aye.
Mr. Capola,
Aye.
and Mr. Franciulli.
Aye.
So adopted. On page 2 of your agenda, ladies and gentlemen, ordinance 7-12, authorizing a lease agreement with the Hanover Township Little League for the operation of the concession stand at Blackbrook Park for the period beginning August 21st, 2012 through August 31st, 2012. We have the proof of publication that ordinance 7-12 appeared in full with the notice of introduction in the March 1st issue of the Daily Record. This time, may we have a motion to convene the public hearing?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Capola, seconded by Mr. Bruno. On roll call for public hearing, Mr. Schleifer.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Franciulli.
Aye.
Is there anyone in chambers wishing to speak on ordinance 7-12? Okay, hearing none, seeing none, may we have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
So moved by Mr.
Second.
Schleifer, seconded by Mr. Capola. On roll call to close the public hearing, Mr. Schleifer.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Franciulli.
Aye.
Now on adoption. Be resolved that an ordinance entitled An Ordinance Authorizing the Execution of a Lease Agreement with the Hanover Township Little League Incorporated for the operation of the Blackbrook Park concession stand commencing April 21st, 2012 through August 31st, 2012 be passed on final reading, and that a notice of the publication of the ordinance shall be published in the March 15th issue of the Daily Record. May we now have a motion on adoption?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Capola,
Second.
second by Mr. Franciulli. On roll call for adoption, Mr. Schleifer,
Aye.
Mr. Bruno,
Aye.
Mr. Capola,
Aye.
Mr. Franciulli.
Aye.
So approved. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we have 2 ordinances now at this time for introduction. Ordinance number 8-12 is an ordinance authorizing a 1% increase in the appropriation limit of the 2012 current fund budget and establishing a cap bank in accordance with state statute NJSA 40A:4-45.14. This ordinance will be further considered for public hearing and final passage at the Township Committee meeting on March 22nd here in these chambers. And at that time, any person wishing to be heard concerning the ordinance will be given an opportunity to speak. The administrator clerk is further authorized and directed to publish the ordinance in full with the notice of introduction in the Daily Record in accordance with law. We now have a motion for introduction.
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Francioli, seconded by Mr. Bruno. On roll call for introduction, Mr. Schleifer.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
Mr. Francioli.
Aye.
So introduced.
Sylvia, that's considerably lower than last year, huh?
This is actually just so we're allowed to bank. We have about a banking credit of $1 million. If we don't adopt this, we lose that credit.
That's fine. Thank you.
The next ordinance is docketed as Ordinance 9-12, authorizing improvements at the Bee Meadow Swimming Pool facility. And there are two improvements. The first is repair to the perimeter edge deck of the pool. And secondly, re-roofing of the Bee Meadow Pool Maintenance Building. The ordinance further authorizes an appropriation of $115,000 for the financing of both projects through the Swimming Pool Enterprise Fund capital account of 2012 and all prior years, and that is a separate self-sustaining capital account that does not include taxpayer money. It is all derived from membership fees. This ordinance will be further considered, because it's a capital ordinance, on the 12th of April at 8:30 p.m. here in the main meeting room of the municipal building. At that time, any resident and any citizen wishing to be heard concerning Ordinance 9-12 will be given the opportunity to speak. The ordinance and the notice of introduction will be published in full in the Daily Record in accordance with law. May we now have a motion on introduction?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Schleifer.
Second.
Second by Mr. Capola and Mr. Bruno in unison. On introduction, Mr. Schleifer.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Francioli.
Aye.
So introduced.
That time of year, huh? Not too far off. Yeah. Very good.
Based on today's weather, it'll be here, can't be soon
Listen,
enough, right?
Anytime.
My daffodils have risen, you know, ready to go.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we now have the introduction of the 2012 current fund municipal budget. And we're right on schedule with the state requirement for introduction. And at this time, for the benefit of the public, I'll read the pertinent figures into the record. First of all, the appropriations within the caps for municipal purposes, $17,250,191. The appropriations excluded from the cap for municipal purposes, $2,312,581. So the total general appropriations excluded from the cap is $2,312,581. The reserve for uncollected taxes, based on an estimated 98.9% of tax collections, is $2,977,566.54. Total general appropriations, $22,540,338.54. And less the anticipated revenues other than the current property taxes of $7,650,535. And the difference, the amount to be raised by taxes for support of the municipal budget, and this is for the local tax for municipal purposes, including the reserve for uncollected taxes, will be $14,889,803.54. Now, in accordance with the regulations promulgated by the state, the synopsis of the budget, summation of the budget will appear in the daily record. And at this time, we need to introduce the budget and also establish the public hearing date and the proposed adoption date, and that would be April the 12th at 8:30 p.m. here in the main meeting room. And of course, at that time, any citizen wishing to be heard concerning the municipal budget will be given the opportunity to speak on the budget. So at this time, may we have a motion on the introduction and
Second.
establishment of the public hearing? Have a motion by Mr. Francioli and seconded by Mr. Bruno. On roll call for the introduction and the convening of the public hearing on the 12th of April. Mr. Schleifer.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Pola.
Aye.
And Mr. Francioli.
Aye.
So introduced.
I'd like to take the moment to thank the committee for the hard work they did. Thank Silvio, who put this budget together for us in anticipation of a really tough budget session. But we did very well. I think our early examination of the budget conservatively looks like we'll be well under our 3% threshold on that, but we'll see. But again, I'd like to thank each and every one of the committeemen. I think they were very conservative, and we did a lot of cutback in capital areas this year. Chief, you're only getting 2 cars, not 3. Sorry. We're not going to be investing, thank God, for this winter in as much salt for the salt shed as we possibly need, so that's a significant savings as well. And at the same time, the committee was able to put together a budget for roads and road repair and road resurfacing well in excess of $1 million. So I'm very, very pleased, very happy. It's one area of infrastructure we really can't let get ahead of us. So I thank you all. You did a nice job, gentlemen. Very good. Joe?
Ladies and gentlemen, the next item on the agenda is a public hearing on the proposed person-to-person transfer of alcoholic beverage control distribution license number 1412-44-009-006 from Glenn A. Pompey, trading as Hanover Liquors, located at 831 Route 10 East, store number 9, to Village Supermarket of New Jersey, LP, and this license would be held as a pocket license. For the record, we have the proof of publication that the attorney representing Village Supermarkets advertised the notice of the transfer in the Daily Record on August 31st, 2011, and September 7th, 2011. We have a full application which is on file for public inspection. We have a certified copy of the alcoholic beverage retail licensee clearance certificate for transfer purposes only, which is sealed by the state of New Jersey in the Division of Taxation. That too is available for public inspection. We also have a memorandum to Chief Gallagher from Detective Chris Thompson. The subject is liquor license application, Village Supermarket Incorporated, to be trading as ShopRay. This is a memo dated the 28th of November, 2011. And Detective Thompson states as follows: Village Supermarket Incorporated, trading as ShopRite, submitted an application for a person-to-person transfer of plenary retail distribution license number 1412-44-009-006, presently held by Glenn Pompey, trading as Hanover Liquors. After completing the required background investigation of Village Supermarket Incorporated, trading as ShopRite, I found no reason to deny their application to purchase the liquor license from Glenn Pompey, trading as Hanover Liquors. Respectfully, Detective Chris Thompson. So at this time, may we have a motion to convene the public hearing?
So moved.
So moved by Mr.
Second.
Schleifer, seconded by Mr. Capola. On roll call, Mr. Schleifer,
Aye.
Mr. Bruno,
Aye.
Mr. Capola,
Aye.
and Mr. Francioli.
Aye.
Is there anyone wishing to be heard concerning this proposed transfer of the license to be held as a pocket license? Seeing none, hearing none, then we have now a resolution for approval. This is a resolution approving a person-to-person transfer of plenary retail distribution license number 1412-44-009-006, presently held by Glenn A. Pompey, trading as Hanover Liquors, to Village Supermarket of New Jersey, LP, to be held in a pocket status. But before I take that vote, ask for that vote, may we have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Schleifer, seconded by Mr. Capola. On roll call, Mr. Schleifer.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Francioli.
Aye.
Now, may we have a motion on the resolution, which is also available for public inspection?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Bruno, second by Mr. Capola. On roll call for approval as a pocket status license, Mr. Schleifer,
Aye.
Mr. Bruno,
Aye.
Mr. Capola,
Aye.
and Mr. Francioli.
Aye.
So approved. Ladies and gentlemen, next portion of business is the consent agenda of resolutions. There are no additional resolutions added at this time. Are there any questions from members of the governing body concerning any of the resolutions listed as 1A, B, 2, 3, 4, and 5?
None?
Hearing none, may we have a motion to approve the resolutions as a consent agenda?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Capola, seconded by
Second.
Mr. Bruno, and roll call, Mr. Schleifer.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Francioli.
Aye.
So approved. Ladies and gentlemen, on page 3 of your agenda, we have bingo and raffle applications as follows. Application number RL2543, Elizabeth Ann Seton Council number 6904, Knights of Columbus, for a tricky tray on the 1st of June at the OLM Church Center between 6 and 11 p.m. Raffle application 2544, St. Elizabeth Ann Seton Council, 6904, Knights of Columbus, for a 50-50 on-premise on the 1st of June at the OLM Church Center between 6 and 11 p.m. Bingo application 2545, St. John the Baptist Ukrainian Catholic Church, for bingo on the following nights at 7:30 p.m. at the Ukrainian Center. April the 11th, the 18th, the 25th, May 2nd, May 9th, May 16th, May 23rd, May 30th, June 6th, June 13th, June 20th, June 27th, July the 4th, July the 11th, July the 18th, July the 25th, August the 1st, August the 8th, August 15th, the 22nd, and August 29th, September 5th, September 12th, September 19th, September 26th, October 10th, October 10th, October 19th, October 24th, and October 31st.
Why don't you just tell us the ones that they're not
It's
Weekly
easy to
bingo
read it
is
this
back.
way. Raffle application 2546. I don't print it up, I just read it. Notre Dame of Mount Carmel Roman Catholic Church. Tricky tray on the 27th of April at Notre Dame between 7 and 11 p.m. And Notre Dame of Mount Carmel Roman Catholic Church on the 27th of April for 50-50 on-premise at Notre Dame between 7 and 11 p.m., and that's application 2547. May we have a motion for approval?
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Schleifer, thank you. Have a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Bruno. And George, you need to recuse yourself.
Just on the
Mr.
first.
Capola is going to recuse himself on applications 2543 and 2544 because he is one of our grand former Grand Knights and district deputies and all the titles you can think of.
And he came up with all those dates.
No, this was for the first one.
No?
No, not the second one.
Oh.
And Mr. Bruno said yes. Mr. Pola abstained. Mr. Francione.
Aye.
So approved.
I say yes on the other.
Okay. And you said yes on all the others. I'm
Okay.
sorry. And the last item of business, ladies and gentlemen, so I don't have to spend some time in the Morris County Jail, is the payment of bills in the amount of $5,532,145.46. May we have a motion so we can pay our bills?
So moved.
So
Second.
moved by Mr. Schleifer, seconded by Mr. Capola. And roll call, Mr. Schleifer.
Aye.
Mr. Bruno.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
Mr. Francione.
Aye.
So approved. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That clears the agenda of the Business Administrator Township Clerk.
Thank you, Joseph. Very good.
Thank you.
Very good. Okay, gentlemen, at this time, is there any other business from the committee?
Just have a couple items. I'll be brief, Mr. Mayor.
Absolutely. Very good.
Just one thing, the Whippany River, I guess they call it the de-snagging or the cleanup project is now complete. And just want to thank, we had all the support of the Township Committee, our Office of Emergency Management, all our emergency people had pushed for this project. We got it done fairly quickly. There were some deadlines that we could actually go and work inside the river because of the fish and the spawning and those issues. But the project went very well. It started at the post road, and as many of you recall, during the flooding, we had a lot of logs jammed and a lot of debris that was carried down river up to those areas. And our concern was that we were going to have some major flooding now that the spring's here. And so I'm very happy that that project got complete. And if you take a look at it, even at the area of the post office, it looks like a different area. It's nice and clean. It's been an education walking up and down the river with our arborist, Lorraine Konopka, and our DPW superintendent. And I think those areas they're a lot better looking now. You can actually see them.
To say that that project went quickly is an understatement. You did a great job.
They did.
Very nice.
And my congratulations to everyone who supported it. Thank
Well,
you.
well done.
And,
Very well done.
and as I said originally when I brought it up, we're all stakeholders in it. I mean, we could have went after property owners and do things like that, but when that river floods and it cuts off Route 10 and it blocks our firehouse, it puts all of us at risk. So the monies were funded out of our tree fund and not of our general fund, and I think it was a very appropriate use of it.
Appropriately, yes.
And I'm glad that we've got that done. On the agenda for later this evening in our workshop, we're going to talk about maybe some other areas if we want to look at those and how we want to proceed with the rest of the river. And as our mayor had stated to me before, it's one of our better assets of the township, the Whippany River that runs through the whole town. So,
Say so.
one other thing, John Faramaska is not here, so I just want to mention, because I know he would, that Employment Horizons in cooperation with the Hanover Township Green Team is going to have a Community Shred Day on Saturday, April 21st from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. at Employment Horizons on Ridgedale Avenue. And I'm sure it'll be posted on the bulletin board.
Absolutely. Get all your check stubs and all your receipts out of the attic and take them over there and
Oh, yeah, worked
we'll
well.
grind them up for you, right?
And that's it. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Very good. Thank you. George?
Yes, couple things. Again, I'll try to get through these very quickly. There has been a study going on since the November of last year for the combining of both fire districts. I've attended a number of the meetings where they've spoke of it. They've received 2 drafts. They finally have received a final proposal. They have the committee people, 2 of them from the Whippany Fire Company Fire District and 2 from Cedar Knolls Fire District. They are evaluating it, looking at it, and I believe at the meeting on the 26th of this month, there will be a fire prevention meeting. I think that's where it will be discussed as to what they feel they're going to do with the proposal that's being made. The other thing is the Board of Education. They do have their election this year. So for the benefit of folks, there are 32 districts that are in Morris County who have opted not to go with the election in April. They moved their elections to November. Hanover Township, however, has opted to remain with the election on April 17th. Although the the high school has decided to go with their election in November. But the K to 8 is going to be April 17th as normally scheduled. There are 4 candidates running for 3 seats. All right, I would like to mention that one of the candidates who decided not to run this year, Anthony Scarpino, has been a long member, a very valuable member of the Board of Education, and I think Anthony has done so much to help the process, and I know he's going to be sorely missed because he had a tremendous amount of knowledge. But, you know, I guess he's just moving on. He's done enough so far, and he decided this year that he would no longer seek re-election. However, as noted, there are 4 candidates for 3 open seats, and there will be a candidates' night at Monroe Hall on the 26th of this month. So if anyone's interested, Monroe Hall on the 26th of this month.
Thank you, George. Appreciate that. Very good. Okay. Bob, anything?
Just
No?
2 things real quickly. The Substance Awareness Committee did run a fun night 2 weeks ago. It was designed to be populated by our middle school students, but there was some sort of a conflict, and the high school kids who showed up to help chaperone used electronic media and instead invited all their friends, and it ended up being a fun night by the high school kids who all had a great time. So the report was that it all worked out well, and there are now going to be fun nights scheduled each and every month based on age and grade level. And there will be one targeted for the high school kids down the road, but this one did work out well. And then in terms of the Recreation Commission, search for the superintendent is ongoing, but the list of candidates has been narrowed, and they are hopeful to have someone in the very near future.
Very good.
Mr. Mayor, I'd just like to make a correction. The date for that meeting with the fire prevention is Thursday, March 22nd. I'm sorry, I had the wrong date.
Got it?
Yep,
Good.
that's it. Thank you.
That's only if you're not voting, but that's on the other Thursday opposite the confusion, I'll tell you. Just a couple of quick dates. The Wibenong Library will be holding its Tricky Tray, and that'll be on March the 28th, and it was well attended last year. I hope it'll be well attended this year. Great opportunity, a lot of prizes, a wonderful evening. Look forward to seeing everyone there. Also, the Economic Development Advisory Committee, Hanover Township, will run once again its brokers reception. That'll take place on May the 4th. That will be by invitation to various known brokers in the region and the area. It was very, very successful the last time. We will have members of the state, members of the county, other chambers available at the same time, and trying to put together a lot of information. We're updating for this meeting all of our property sheets on about 19 different properties that are available in Hanover Township in one way or the other for redevelopment or open for development, etc. They'll be updated. Economic Development Committee is also going to be working on an expanded website. Website will be far more interactive than the present one is now. Be able to enter that, look at properties, not only from a mapping standpoint, but from a Google mapping standpoint to get a better idea of the geography of what you're looking at. And it'll have attached to it a lot of the necessary agents and representatives for those properties for further contact. So we're really moving along nicely in that area. It's very successful. This promises to be a very, very, I'll use the word, productive year for Economic Development Committee. And why do I say that? It's beginning to show results in many ways. Although I'm not at liberty to discuss all of them, I can tell you that we have seen many, many excellent concepts from excellent brand companies who are interested in Hanover Township, and we're, again, very, very thrilled over the idea. We know that we're at the final stages of the conveyance of the Lucent property through Whippany Investors LLC. That's moving along very nicely. No issues where that's concerned. We're very pleased over that. And we're looking forward, the Economic Development Committee will be looking forward to ideas and thoughts on what we're calling the south campus of that property. As you know, that's 200 acres there of the Lucent property. 90-plus acres of it will be taken through Whippany Investors LLC, pharmaceutical firm that's engaged in that. And the balance of the property, we're looking at the zoning for that now. So very, very pleased with the progress that we're making on that. Very, very pleased. Okay. Thank you. Anything else from the committee? Hearing nothing, I'll motion again to open.
So moved.
All right, moved and seconded. Okay. The floor is now open. Anyone who would like to address the Township Committee, once again, can do so from the podium, giving us your name and address for the record.
Put a casino on the Lucent property that you got.
What?
Put a casino over
Casino?
there. Bring in money.
No.
I think we have a request for a casino, Mr. Mayor. if we can do that.
Is that?
Give Bally's a call, see if they want to come.
How do you know that isn't on the agenda of my little mystery interested parties here, you know? Very good. But we'll give that some consideration. Anyone else would like to be heard at this time? Seeing none, hearing none, motion to close.
So moved.
Moved and seconded? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion for adjourn.
So moved.
Seconded, all in
Aye.
favor? Okay, adjourn.
Thank you.
Can we do that?
At least a hotel. At least a hotel. Indian boys.